Even though he has not always been protected, he's always been a protector.
Broken people saw that signal and done what they thought they needed to do to the request that I was making, and they just chose improperly.
He never told me nothing. I knew nothing about it.
I feel like everyone in my family, in some form or way, has been fondled or molested or raped in some form or fashion.
I couldn't understand how God was in me because I was that.
Larry was tolerated versus celebrated.
There's a wrong way and right way to do everything, and Larry always seemed to choose the wrong way.
Yes, I was drugged and raped, and that happened when I was 17 years old. Misfits have an ability to stick out. But if the misfit accept that they absolutely cannot fit in, then they become someone with an X factor.
Multimedia personality, comedic commentator, songwriter, recording artist, spiritual leader, author, and actor. Larry D. Reid is the founder of the MBN Network, owner of LDR Enterprises based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and the spiritual leader of the Reformation Church of Atlanta. You can catch Larry Reid on the BET Plus original series Kingdom Business and on American Gangsta Track Queens. Streaming online at BET.plus. The MBN Network is a nonprofit organization based in Atlanta, Georgia. We are a streaming, radio, and ministry network funded by a network of partners that are professionals, technicians, entrepreneurs, and entertainers from around the world. Become a member of Patreon today at patreon.com/Larry Reid Live to gain access to all that the NBN Network has to offer. On Sundays, tune in for prayer, prophecy, and coaching call, available for Patreon members only. Join in on the morning meditation and prayer call, open to the public Monday through Friday. On Monday evenings, catch the digital entertainment news show, Larry Reid Live, as Dr. Reid discusses an array of topics with a raw, humorous, and controversial approach. Get informed and inspired on Tier 2 Tuesdays for Tier 2 Patreon members only. Wednesday night breakdown with Dr. Reid, the virtual prophets, pastoral counselors, and coaches, available for Tier 2 patron members only. Participate in Therapy Thursdays and Financial Fridays for all tiers, inside of Patreon only. Saturdays, rest and be with your family. Become a member today by logging on to patreon.com/Larry Reid Live today. Church Critic by Dr. Larry D. Reid. An examination of the Larry Reid Live show perspective. Purchase a copy today by logging on to LarryReidLive.com. That's LarryReidLive.com. Stay connected to Larry Reid Live. Take a moment and like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube page, and hit the bell. Text LRL to 404-999-7527. That's the words LRL to 404-999-7527. And get notified when we go live. Become a member of Patreon. Log on to patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. Sign up, then download the Patreon app and turn on your notifications. Get connected today.
We're about to have a conversation. All right, we are here. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is a very special night. Now, y'all know I'm always talking about a beautiful brain. And we happen to have someone who is here, beautiful on the outside. And I'm going to tell y'all about that too. I was like, but she came in, look. She came in, and I was coming in because I came out of my room. She was already coming through the main area, and so the only thing I could see was the backside. I said, "Wait." I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "I knew you were curvy. Can we see you working out on the platform?" But I didn't know like this.
Oh my goodness.
This is a woman. But she has a beautiful brain. And I'm gonna tell you how I found out about it, but I want you to take a moment right now and let everybody know that we have a conversation. Now, she is a legit, for real theologian and educator. So I need for you guys to get your notepad. I don't know what we agree on. I don't know what we don't agree on.
That's gonna be fun.
But we're gonna do it on live. I mean, because we know how to be respectful, but still, So this is gonna be interesting. I want to discuss it all and talk about it, and we will be concentrating somewhat around the election, because that's what made me be like, "Oh, I gotta have her on."
Yeah.
Okay, so let me say this first, because this is how I know you. Every once in a while, people always sending me stuff, something that hits the internet. I want to talk about what is public, and you are very, very public, and you say whatever you think. And so there been times I see your post, I'm like, I don't agree with her, but I like it. And I only seen like 2 posts you did that I'm like, oh, I don't pretty much agree with that. But 9 times out of 10, what you are saying is the part that needs to be said out loud. And I love that.
Thank you.
And you're so bold.
It's funny because I don't remember a time when I wasn't. Like I got in trouble in school a lot for and I think it's being an only child. I never was in one of those like seen and not heard homes. And so like now when I got to school, it would be a problem. But I'm just like, well, my mom told me to express myself, so that's what I do.
Wow. And you learned that from your mom?
I didn't learn it from her. I really got it from my grandma.
Okay.
My grandmother was my grandmother was fire. Like my mother was very much more diplomatic with it. My grandma was like, I'm just gonna tell you, burn it down, and then we just gonna figure out what's left at the ashes. And so I get that from her more than anything.
Yeah, and there is something that is in North Carolinians, because I found out she's a North Carolina native.
Winston-Salem.
I am too, and there's so many other great talents and voices and that come out of North Carolina, such as there's John P. Key, there's Shirley Caesar, there's Fantasia. Who else is there?
You got Terrell.
Tabitha Brown. That's right. Yeah. So this is something we've been gifted with, to talk and express our thoughts. Yeah. And I think the world likes it.
I do too. Yeah. They be trying to act like we're not from the South, but we are.
Yeah, we're North Carolina, right. but we're still very, very Southern. Now, when you came into this space that you're in now, because you're known as someone that does, this is crazy, because you don't even have the podcast and everything, but people come to your page like it's a podcast. Yeah. So when did you know, okay, people are paying attention to what I say?
It was just really recently. Like I think what kind of, when I moved here in 2020. And I remembered I like posted something and it went viral. And I was trying to figure out why it went viral. Like I was like, what? Like, and a friend of mine said, "We actually care what you think." And before then, and I think you'll understand what I mean by this. Before then, I really thought I had an opinion just like everybody else, and I share my opinion just like how everybody else does. It wasn't until about 4 years ago, really, that I understood that while all opinions, everybody has an opinion, they're not all valued equally. And that there are some people that you do look to hear what they have to say. And whether or not you agree, you still enjoy the conversation, you still enjoy the engagement, you still enjoy the dialogue. And it wasn't until recently that I understood that I was one of those people.
Wow. I wonder what is that makes us not know, because I didn't see myself the way. There you go.
Now he told me that you cooked today.
I say he may have cooked today. I don't know.
Y'all get me in here and don't do right by me. This is crazy. This is crazy.
I don't know if he cooked, but I didn't know. I'm surprised he came empty-handed, because typically
you
he
live
has
right around
something.
the corner. They said you live right around
Marco,
the corner.
why did you say something? You mute. You scared?
I'm trying to think what I got at the house.
You was wearing that gum out.
is.
That pole gum.
Let me also say that the saints over here is blessed. Let me look. The waters are troubled, and I'm stepping my toe in. It's like you gotta ask for favor and rain in the time of favor and rain. And I walked in that door and I was like, "It is raining." So I'm sticking my toe in.
But what I was gonna say is I did not see the commentary I was doing online, because it turned into Larry Live. Right. I didn't see it as I was doing what was in my heart to do, just followed it, and then it sort of became a thing. And what is that is in us that, in your opinion, that causes us to not always see what others see instantly, and we see it later?
I think honestly, it has a lot to do with how quote unquote ministry gets constructed, right? So like for me, I only saw preachers, or you were, like you either preached or you pastored. Mm-hmm. This idea that I would just be a theologian that wrote in space and thought about what faith life is supposed to look like and mean, I didn't really have a context for that. Mm-hmm. So part of it becomes, if you don't see it, you don't think it exists. Mm-hmm. And then there's a piece of like, all right, when your opinions are so polarizing, then it's like you can't be this look to voice, because you're so far left. Yeah. You're so over here that nobody's really going to be paying attention to you. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that. Like I felt like people think, they make the assumption that my circle of friends, my people that were echo chamber, we're not. Like I'm actually the most liberal in my group. Like there are times when my friends are like, I don't even know where you got that from. but I didn't see what I felt called to be in as a possibility. I was pulling from all of these different places to kind of make something fit and something. And it wasn't really until I got here. One, outside of the context of grief, because this is really the first place since my mom died where I was actually able to breathe and it wasn't heavy. And so when I moved here, it was like, whew. And shout out, I tell her all the time, but Jamal Bryant really is the reason why I moved here, because we were on the set of, we did a set visit to Aretha January 2020. And I was telling him that I was going to move, and it was between LA and Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I think that Atlanta, for what you want to do and for what you envision around faith and Black women, I really think Atlanta is where you need to be. I was like, no, it's not. And then COVID came, and my grandma was like, you can go anywhere you want to go, but if you get COVID in LA, I'm not coming out there. So it became, I was like, let me move to Atlanta. And when I got here, it made so much sense. I was able to breathe. And I think that when you are out from under the weight of so much that like weighs you down, you're able to see differently. And so I was able to see what other people were seeing. And then it was the question of, how do I steward it? Right? So like, how do I, if people believe that I have something to say, how do I steward their trust in me? I think that's been the space that I've been in.
Is that, well, two things. I got two questions. Let me pause on that one. But you said you were looking at and pulling. The thing you were looking at, trying to find some similarity between what you were feeling and who you were. Were you looking at the church? And you said you're looking at preachers.
Not a lot. The only person, I'm gonna be very honest, the only two people in church space that I was looking at was Renita Weems, Dr. Renita Weems, because she had crossed over and was writing for Essence. I remember that her articles, when she would write for Essence, my mama would take her articles out, her columns out, and they were in her Bible. And I remembered I wanted to be like that, right? That like I wanted to write something that a sister would be like, I gotta keep this in the most sacred space, and they would put it in their Bible. And so I was looking at her, and I was looking at Juanita Bynum. Yeah. Like, No More Sheets, to this day, I think is one of the most amazing sermons that was ever preached to Black women.
It is.
And the way that, now we can have a conversation about what I think theologically about it now, because I'm in a very different space. Yeah. But I think that she preached from a deep well of loving us. And wanting us to be the best that we could possibly be. And so I wanted to carry that with whatever I was doing. But they were the only two women in ministry contextually that I was looking at.
I mean, because Juanita in that time at that space was blowing everybody's mind because, first of all, who is this voice? Yeah. Oh, and this voice is female, and she's saying this. So it was hitting us and shaking us and rocking everybody. Absolutely. It was almost like it was for the women, but it went through the entire culture. At the
time. Was for Black women, but everybody fed off of it.
Yeah, everybody could feel it too. Yeah. And Renita Weems, I think you said it was, being that she's writing for Essence and as a Christian woman. Yeah. So I can see that really speaking to you. Now, for me, this is how I found out about you. People will send me clips and be pictures of what you have wrote. And I'm like, And I even shared a few of them. I shared a few of them. I said, now, she's interesting. Of course, like you said, there were some things you would say, I'm like, I don't know about that. But because it was, you were thinking and what you were saying was different. Right. I'm like, well, I don't agree with that, but I'm still gonna follow her, and I'm gonna still come back and check her page. Right. And you posted something the other day, and this is taking us into our conversation. I'm gonna go and pull up your page. You really can just go to her Facebook page or her IG, and you can just go down and just everything is just, she's saying something the entire time with every post. It's almost like little mini books.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, true. I mean, you can take your Facebook page. If you are out here and you're a leader of a women's group, or you feel like you call the women, you can go to her page and make it a conversation for your group almost every day.
People have done that. Yeah. It's been really interesting, the relationship that I have with women's ministries and the church, largely because I didn't think that I would ever have that. Because when you are, again, opinionated, when you're a Black woman, you are pigeonholed in a certain kind of ideology. And to not be that can be isolating. And so to have the kind of relationship that I have with the church and with women's ministries has been its own like true blessing.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, because some of the stuff you be saying, I'm like, the church don't agree with her.
And the funny part is they'll still invite me, and I go and I say what I want to say, and them checks clear. So I go and I say what I had to say, and then I scan that thing, and Navy Federal tell me it's a valid check, and I go about my business.
All right, so let's look at this that she posted. I'm gonna read it. It's sitting on top of us. We can slide it to the side so they can see it. All right, so let's read what Candace had the nerve to put. Let's read what Candace had the unmitigated gall to post on her platform. I'm gonna read. It says, A few people, should I read it or you should read it?
You should read it.
Okay. A few people have remarked a difference in how I've been engaging with certain people since the election. And last night, someone noticed I've been a bit quiet in spaces. This election was an eye-opener for me and how I've moved in certain spaces with certain people. Now that spoke to me.
Mm-hmm.
That spoke to me. We may refer back to this a few times because I got something to say about that. Consequently, my post-election behavior is because I want to make myself and where I stand clear. If you voted for Trump, you're not someone I want to engage or deal with. That's it, and that's all. And it's not about being a Republican. I agree. I am a Black woman from the South. I've known Republicans all my life, and on most days, Democrats get on my nerves. We agree. Mm-hmm. So this ain't about party politics. MAGA and Trumpism is about bigotry. Let's breathe. That is the truth. Mm-hmm. Let's keep reading, or we're going to have a conversation. And supporting bigotry makes you a bigot to me. This was not a vote to protect the sanctity of life from abortion. This was not a vote to protect cisgender girls from trans athletes. This was not a vote to restore the economy. You are bigots who voted for bigotry, and I don't respect you. I'm struggling with that. And I typically don't like being around people I don't respect. It's really that simple. Who you vote for may be private for everyone else, but it's not for me and the world I want to create around me. We are required to share a country. You're right. We are required to share a country. We are not required to be in a community with each other. And whether family member, colleague, or acquaintance, I will not subject myself to being in community with bigots. As I have been saying, elections have consequences, and one of yours is staying the fuck from around me. You voted for Trump. No, we cannot agree to disagree. No, we can't move beyond political differences and remain cordial. You voted for an administration that actively seeks to deny my humanity, bodily autonomy, and access to constitutional rights and freedoms. You were in community with me in some capacity before you went into that voting booth, and you still voted that way. You are actually my enemy. And now I see you as such. Hope this helps and clears up any confusion. What was the confusion? Because you're being quiet in spaces. Be blessed and walk in victory. I love to be blessed. It's the right kind of mess. It's just the right. Now, that was a whole sermon. It was a moment. And I felt that, but I also struggle with some of your stance. So let's talk about it. First, okay. You tell me in your own words, you wrote it, but explain it to us, because some of us may be like, wait a minute, you've been too rough. You've been too hard. That's too hard of a line of demarcation.
Yeah, so what was really interesting to me was I felt like even if I understood when it comes to certain issues why folks on the left did not want to vote for Kamala. When it comes to Palestine, I understood certain things. Yeah. When it comes to her and him, and to put your support behind him, it was very clear to me the kind of decision that you were making, right? That he represents hatred, division, and bigotry. You, by voting for him, are embracing hatred, division, and bigotry. Add to that what his administration seeks to usher in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And advocate for. And it is to ensure that some of us don't have the same amount of rights as the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be in community with me and not believe that I deserve to have the same access to rights and access to freedoms and liberties as you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So and a lot of it came in social spaces that I was in. A lot of it came with afterwards family members being really excited about Trump being in office. And I'm like, where did this come from?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I found out that there were people that were my gym buddies who had extreme MAGA beliefs, but never shared them with me. There was somebody who actually has deeply transphobic beliefs about Michelle Obama. Whoa. And was quoting that like QAnon foolishness that Michelle Obama is actually trans. And I was really shocked that one, I had not caught like this. And there was this moment for me of like, how did I miss that? But then a friend of mine was like, no, like people know that like they don't need to be telling people that they voted for him. So they're gonna be real quiet with and they're going to engage you and others in a very different way. And so I remembered after the election really watching her concession speech, because I'll be very honest, I was broken. Like I not only did I vote for her, I was an active part of campaigning for her. So I felt like if we can have a Black woman who, even if you take away the fact she's Black,
right?
She was by far at one time we said that Hillary Clinton was the most qualified candidate we had ever had run. Actually, now it's Kamala Harris was the most qualified person we have ever had run for president. And they chose an ignorant bigot, right? Like he's just ridiculous. And I remember being really broken. And I remember having to sit with, what do I do now? A line has been drawn in the sand. People have told you where they stand. These are people who do not want you to have the same rights and access as they do. In addition to myself, I'm also the guardian of two of my cousins who are special needs. This administration has advocated for what they're calling scaling back on spending, which actually is threatening the funding for one of their programs. So it became, for me, I cannot be in community with people who actively do not want me to thrive and flourish in the same ways that they thrive and flourish. Be where you need to be with your people, but you can't be around me and mine. And there are enough people in this world, there are enough people in my community, there are enough people in my space that make up the difference, right? Yeah. Like I was telling you, like we were saying before, we don't agree on everything.
No.
Our common denominator and where we come is that everyone deserves respect.
Humanity.
Everyone is exactly.
Humanity.
If that's not our common denominator, how can two walk lest they agree? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't do this together.
Right. And you know, Jesus. I've only had this conversation with my patrons and Celestial Circle, which is an exclusive group of about 100 and some people, because I get I don't know why I get so emotional over it. And I ain't even that nigga. I'm not that dude. Only thing you can get me emotional is I'm in the power. I'm in that thing.
Yeah.
But I don't but this makes me so emotional and I can't figure it out quite yet. And then it all happened at the same time I was in Africa. So I was in Africa in November, and it was in Ghana, which is where I'm Ghanaian. So it just, and I was finding all of that out. I was just getting my African ancestry, and I come there find out information I never knew. I never knew who Kwame in Nkrumah was. I'm like, all right, so it's like my whole everything got shook up, and it's all connected to and everything concerning the issues that this election brought to the surface. All right. So if I get a little funny feeling, like you feel me feeling like I'm about to, that's why. So this is the thing. How do we? That is bad.
Thank you.
Wow. If my daughter saw that, she'll want them. I'm gonna take a picture and send it to her.
Okay.
What do you say to the people that say, "Okay, Candace, I hear what you said, and what your whole spiel, we're gonna make that an IG clip." But what about the people who say, "Candace, that's too much. I love these people. How come people can't vote the way they want to vote? I don't like who they voted for, but that's doing, and I'm becoming discriminatory and immature." What do you say to that?
Was Jesus immature when he said, "I came to pit mother against daughter and father against son"? Like was Jesus being immature when he literally says that there is a fundamental understanding of how we do life together, that if you are not aligned with this, you are not aligned with me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so for me, I am sitting here and I'm like, you can do whatever you want to do. But I will ask yourself, like, I want you to ask yourself one question. Why are you holding yourself to a standard that you are not holding people that would vote against and to harm you to, right? Like, I told someone, I said, why? Because I had a lot of people after this one reach out and say, this is like, it's a bridge too far, and you gotta understand. I was like, I don't have to understand nothing. I'm pretty smart. I get it. I was like, but instead of asking me why I would allow a vote to impact a relationship, why are you not asking them why they didn't allow a relationship to impact how they vote? Like, if we are in community together, if we are in relationship together, if we care about each other, you should want me to thrive in the same way as you thrive. Yeah. You should want me to have what you have. If you don't want that, then you don't want to be connected to me.
Yeah. Did you vote for Trump last time?
No.
That was a North Carolina face.
Not at all.
Okay. So what was the difference between that election and this election for you?
I really thought so I remember thinking, wow, if Hillary didn't have a chance, no Black woman does. I really remember feeling like that. Then the energy around Kamala's campaign, and then the more that I read, I was always voting for her. I was still gonna vote for Biden, even if I felt like I was always a reluctant Biden voter. Like I would want him to have the new clothes, and I trusted his administration more than I trusted the other guys. But I remembered the more that I kept reading Project 25.
That's what happened to me.
The more that I kept seeing all of these abortion bans, there came this moment where then I was reading an article that talked about the number of federal judges that the next president would be able to appoint, and it is upwards of like 128 lifetime appointments. And they interviewed someone who said, regardless of who wins, it will take 4 generations to undo what will be done if a minimum of these amount of judges are appointed. So I sat there and I was like, even if you were not a fan of Kamala Harris, 4 generations of undoing what she did and wants is much better than attempting to undo 4 generations of what is going to come from a Trump in advance presidency. I also thought people were smarter. Like I felt like,
me too.
I felt like oh, y'all are dumb. Like, it was this moment where I was like, no, these people are not smart. Like, how do you not see through this? How do you not say, all right, I may be Republican, but this doesn't represent me? How do you not say, I may be a Republican, but these are some issues that are a bridge too far? And when that didn't happen, I was like, yeah, there's not. I had one of my mentors to tell me, she's in her 70s. She said, I have accepted that I don't believe I will see this in my lifetime. And I was like, I think I accepted it too. And for as sobering as that is, it's a bit freeing. Because now I think, and we can talk about this. I don't subscribe to the like get someone else to do it that people are saying Black women are saying now. But I do think for me, I've become much more invested in what does community look like. I got a cousin that is about to be a freshman in college. What's the world I want for her?
Yeah.
What's the world that I want her to begin to put her footprint into? And so for me, it's become, I'm not about to sit here. I had people that shocked me that voted for Trump. And I'm like, I'm not finna do it. Like, okay, literally made the Lord watch between me and thee.
That
so I'm gonna ask you,
that what?
How did you have anybody that shocked you that voted for Trump?
Yes.
So the answer is yes.
More than one.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they're prophets.
With a PH or an F?
No, real prophets.
Okay.
And I can't. You know what? Every time I talk about this, I realize you ain't over it. Because I don't, it's hard. I have to be able to understand it. Even if I don't agree, I have to understand it just so I can sit with it. I do not know how to reconcile how a prophet or a pastor. Because now I think about it, the ones I know, they're all pastors too. I don't know how you can serve Black women. If you are a pastor, most of your church is Black women. If you're a Black pastor. And if you are a pastor, most of your members are women. So I don't know how you can benefit from someone and want to say anything that could remotely possibly harm them.
Because you never cared about us. I think at some point we have got to admit that there are a lot of pastors, there are a lot of Black pastors and preachers who do not care for Black women but need us. Their ministries, what they preach, what they teach, has made that very clear and evident. I just had this conversation with a sister who found out that her pastor voted for Trump.
What she do?
She reached out to me and she asked me what she should do. And I told her, I said, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I can't tell you what to do, but I can say that I would find it very difficult to submit to the spiritual leadership of someone and to go and ask them for prayer and guidance around the impact that certain inequities and inequalities will directly have on my life that they voted that I would experience.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's the part that they don't get or they don't care about is that as a pastor, I'm coming to you.
Yeah.
To ask you, like these are not just abstract concepts that are out in the universe. Like, structural inequality is real.
Yeah.
Like we feel it. Black women feel it first.
Yeah.
In many ways and in many respects. So if I am going when we're at the altar crying, we not only and solely crying because our hearts are broken. We crying because we're trying to figure out how we're gonna feed these kids.
Yeah.
We crying because we gotta rob Peter to pay Paul, and then you asking us, will a man rob God? Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, so if we're coming to this place to try to make sense of and get hope for and strength for the journey as we deal with systemic inequality and the intersectional oppression that is racism and sexism that literally live on and in the lives of Black women, why would we come to somebody who actively wants us to experience that and went in a voting booth to vote for that?
Yeah. What I have gathered from some is that I must vote for my money. I must vote in my tax bracket. I have unrealized gains. What I'm doing, I am a contributor to Blackness. I hire Black. My mom is Black. My wife is Black. I have daughters. So if I vote the other way, I'm still injuring this Blackness and this Black business, you know. So if I must vote the way for my money, because that's how Black people have power and have a voice. So that's bringing other people above the scratch line. I need to vote for a Trump administration who is going to be more profitable for me financially. So what do you say to that?
I say they are doing what the late, great Reverend Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon said when she said, don't do white people's work for them. That's doing white folks' work. To believe that on some level, you have to dismiss and negate the very real experiences that the majority will have for the sake of the 8 that you are going to employ. Like, it's crazy to me, right? So what then do we do when the books are unveiled and your Black excellence has only served you and your community? That is what the ideologies, the seduction of white supremacy, of evangelical Christianity and Christian nationalism does for Black people, right?
Seduced.
That like we need to be this way because we become the light that shines on everybody else to say that, look, we're doing the right things to help them. We have been endowed, empowered, anointed for such a time as this. And it's like, no, the people, when we think about the communal nature of Black folk and of Blackness, no, the people are why you have what you have.
Absolutely.
And if you can never vote and align yourself with the people, then may God take it all away. Like that for me is really the prayer that if Black folk who are in power and position get to a point where their wealth, their access, their privilege causes them to be blind to the conditions of Black people who have supported them and have lifted them to the place where they are, may they lose everything. Because you didn't deserve it. You ain't deserve it.
I must admit that I brought Candice here selfishly.
What?
Because her post, and I need everybody on Facebook to hit like. There are 1,088 of you watching between Facebook and YouTube. I need all of you to hit like, because we're not talking about P. Diddy, Jay-Z, and Jakes. people ain't gonna want to just come over here because they're gonna look at the title and say, "Oh, this is something else." But hit like so it forces them to see it come up in their news feed. If I be honest, I invited you for myself because I needed to have the conversation with somebody who I don't teach, I don't prophesy, although I have, and thank you guys for being that for me, like those in the room too. But you know, sometimes you just want to speak to someone who ain't in the bed with you, ain't in the bed with them, and just see what they think. And what you're saying made it worse than when you got here. I'm like, Lord, you know. I guess what I've done is talk myself out of being so, you know, because when I love you, I will do anything for you.
Yeah.
And it is hard. And I know this may be a little different Larry Reid for y'all to see out here, but the people that know me have seen all sides of me. I'm bothered. I can't make sense of this.
I'm gonna tell you, I knew we were in trouble when, as Black folks, when that fine McClendon got and
You're talking about Mr. McClendon.
He been fined my whole life. And I knew we were in trouble when that whole debacle, him and then the back and forth to him and Bishop Morton.
And then also Roland Martin was in there too.
Yeah, he be in everything, but he was there. And then I will be very honest with you, like that was the moment when I was like, you know, wherever this goes, the Black male leadership machine has got to reckon with itself, because for all intents and purposes, the number of Black male pastors that supported her ain't necessarily reflected in the theologies that we get in the churches. That's right. So like, yeah, I'm glad that they were voting for her, and I'm glad that they that there was such an intentional effort by many to do that. And I hope that what it also translates into is, what does it look like for us to look at the ways that theologically we support the oppression of Black women, to the point that even if I do not vote, and even if I don't vote for this one, I have still engaged in the advancement of an ideology that harms sisters. Like, case in point, I can't tell you how many brothers that voted for her I had to check because they kept talking about her sexuality and calling her a hoe. Because that was the narrative, right? That she slept.
Oh, that's right. I heard that.
Right. And so like the number of Black men who got common sense, degreed, were very clear they were voting for her and voting for a democratic policy that still advanced that lie and that ideology. I was like, what, like, how does this help free us in any way?
So when you are like that and you can compartmentalize the awakening of your consciousness, what is really going on? Because how you do one thing, how you do everything. So how can you vote for Kamala? I'm wondering what made you vote for her. Because if you're saying you voted for her, but then you still was a part of the sexualizing her sleeping to the top, that don't go together in my mind. In my mind, Kamala's qualified. Kamala's more qualified than Trump. Now, this is an aspect of what I think and believe. You may not agree. I also believe Kamala is just another choice of the same beast that ain't none of them right. It's just like a two-headed monster. She was the better choice between the two. I fully believe that. But I do not know how you could vote for her like I did. I voted for her. I knew because Pluto went in the same position it was in when Trump was the president. And it slid into it in 2024 and stayed in it until after the election. And I came on the platform in March and I said, either we're going to have a rise of Trump energy and very well he can be elected president. But I said, I'm still voting for Kamala because her policies were more aligned with humanity. I don't understand how people can have this partial, maybe I can't understand it, partial awakening. We woke enough to vote for her, but not woke enough to respect her.
Because a lot of times it's about being on the right side of history for the sake of saying that you was on there. Like a lot of people voted for her because they wanted to say they voted for her, which okay, we needed that vote, so thank you. But if your vote has never caused you, or your political positions have never caused you to sincerely and critically look in the mirror, then what are you doing? Right? Like, I mean, I remember I was in a seminary and one of our professors, this was like right before the 2012 election when Obama was reelected. He had us read this book, and I read it every major political year. It's The Politics of God and the Politics of Man, and it's this it's a political theological exploration of 2 Kings, and it's amazing. But one of the things that our professor said was, it is a sin to vote simply for voting's sake. If you are voting, what does your vote say about the way that you want heaven to meet earth? And I never forgot that. I never forgot that. Because for me, when the kingdom comes down, and I have said this to everybody who hears me, if I get to glory and God says, everything that you said was wrong, I believe that I will be counted right, because all I ever wanted to do was for people to feel included. I think that there's something wrong, fundamentally wrong, demonic and evil, with the ways that we take faith, the ways that we take Christianity to exclude and push away. Right? I feel like God's love is that expansive.
Agreed.
God's love is that deep, that all of us are here and all of us are trying to figure it out and get it right. Right? So when I engage politically, what I am always engaging politically to say is that the way that I want the kingdom to touch earth is in a way that allows for everybody to be free enough to flourish.
Free enough to flourish. That's t-shirt.
And if I cannot do that, then what is the point? And so I think a lot of us who have decided that this election was the one in which was enough for us is because we also know what's at stake. Like, he is appointing all the Fruit Loops for the cabinet, right?
The people who were involved with the Heritage Foundation, who wrote the Project 25,
literally sat up there and told y'all, I don't know nothing about it. I didn't, it wasn't my platform. I don't know nothing about it. And then came out the gate and was like, well, bring them all up in here. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think what even people who say to me, well, I'm not going to distance myself from people who voted for him. And I don't understand how people could do that. I tell them, I think that is a very privileged position. I have a lot of friends who are queer, same gender loving, who are having to make very critical decisions between now and January the 21st or 20th, whenever the inauguration is, so that their lives and the ability for their loved ones, their partner, to be able to make decisions for them is concretized.
Yeah.
Why? Because this man literally said that gay marriage and the ability for queer folks to have access to freedoms, liberties, and rights is on his agenda.
No, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like gay, like there are many attorneys who are advising queer couples to get married because it's actually was not as easy to nullify a marriage than it is to say that you can't get married.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And so I've got a lot of friends who are having to make that decision. I've got a lot of friends where I've got a couple who are in the process of trying to adopt. And the agency literally came to them and was like, we're not trying to rush you. But if you want a baby, we need to get a baby in your hands before he takes office. Wow. Like these are real, and nobody wants to rush into a child.
Well, see, I didn't know. I don't know how I missed that. I didn't know that, but I did know about this birthright thing and how that's affecting many people, and then getting married and becoming a citizen. That's no more. I was like, oh my God, this is going to affect some people that are very successful in our country.
Absolutely. I mean, like there is a lot at stake for the ways that we will be able to move. Now, the hope is that he will not be able to do all that he thinks that he will be able to do. The reality, though, is that there are some communities and marginalized folks who cannot take that risk.
Yeah.
So what does it mean, right? When I know folks who are having to rush to make serious decisions, who are having to tell their families and their loved ones, get on board because this is what's happening for me, right? That's a hard space to be in. And I think that it's very easy when you are cisgender, heterosexual, when you have been able to conceive naturally. Like I'm cisgender, I'm heterosexual, I'm not partnered. There was a portion of conversations around Project 2025 that wanted to make IVF access exclusive to married couples.
Yeah.
So that means that if I wanted to have a kid, because I'm not married, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it becomes this is why you be like, why y'all not reading? Like, why are y'all not paying attention to what is happening? Because it's easy for you when your life and your abilities are not on the line to say, oh, well, I would never disconnect from a friend or cut somebody off who voted this way, right? Like I had to have the conversation with my family members that said, hey, if this particular check gets cut from Mark and Reggie, my cousins, we got to figure out something to do. Because I can't foot it myself. Yeah. And we should not leave them to whatever whims because they deserve to be cared for and protected. So if I'm having to have that conversation with my family and me and my uncle are having to sit down and figure out if this check gets cut, what's next? You voted for him. You think you're going to eat my sweet potato pie at my Thanksgiving table? The hell? That's not happening at all.
Oh, my God. Listen. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Candice Benbow. CandiceBenbow. I want you to follow her. I want you to listen to her. She's a great mind. She's an educator and a theologian and author. I want you, all of the Black women, and the other women that I serve, I want you to follow her page. She gets my approval. Like you needed it. Like you needed it. You know? But I want you to follow her because I love that she is as she is. And you guys that know me, you know I'm enjoying this. I'm sitting in this seat excited. Now, I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I heard was that as a pastor, as a leader, it's none of your business who I vote for. And I'm not going to tell you who I voted for because it's none of your business. And whatever you assume is what you assume.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I think about that. I'm going to share it, but I want to hear first what you think about that.
I think it's really interesting that it's none of your business it's none of my business who you vote for, but it's all your business whether or not I pay tithes and offerings. Like you pastors spend all of this time policing our behaviors, policing what we do. You spend all of these days when you're supposed to be actually like in scripture reading something, and you scrolling social media and basically getting your sermons from our posts so that you can preach against them. Like it actually does matter. And I've been in this argument, this disagreement with preachers about this. It actually does matter because why would you, unless you see yourself as an overseer, and not as an overseer in the ways, and I mean, we could talk about this one day because I have a lot of problems with overseer language.
I have a problem with it covering language.
Yeah, I have a problem with that. Yeah. But unless you see yourself as an overseer on the plantation, I don't understand why you would want to shepherd people that you do not want to succeed.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I can't make no sense of that, and I try, but I can't make.
And you're not going to tell me. I'm sorry, and I know that there's some people like the prophets that voted for him may be watching this and may see this. You are not going to tell me that you walk with the Lord. And the Lord sanctioned a vote for division and hatred. That is not to say that I am sitting here and say that I believe that Kamala Harris was anointed to be. Because as I say, I actually believe that that political engagement and that the nature of politics is one of the clearest ways that we see the way that God has yielded autonomy and free will and agency back to us. Like exactly. I really believe that.
Exactly.
So this is not to say that I believe that you are that he got anointed and wanted Kamala to be president. It is to say that there is no way that you read that thick ass book with them 66 books in there. And you came away with, God wants me to elevate the man who said 2 Corinthians to leadership. like there's something, again, going back to what is the world that we desire to see? How does the kingdom come down? How do you vote in a way, even if it's about your money? Even if it's about your, that still is about you.
Yeah.
How do you call yourself a leader, a pastor, you mean to tell me that in January, God can give you the revelation for the whole itinerary of the church, but God ain't told you what you needed to do when you were in that voting booth? You know what I'm saying? Like you got all of this clarity. You got clarity for days on what I'm supposed to spend my time, my talent, my treasure, my body, everything on. and you have no problems telling us and preaching it to us. But you go in with a straight face.
Mm-hmm.
With a straight face. That's how I know you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
And just say, I wanted to vote for the man because his tax breaks and tax policies are going to benefit me. And guess what? I'm going to benefit from Trump's tax policy.
I'm sitting here right now benefiting.
Listen. I'm going to benefit.
Mm-hmm.
How I benefit does not override.
But if I'm benefiting, I'm going to make sure that black man benefit, that black woman benefit, because they're working with me. Or I may go into that church that's struggling, and because I don't have to pay all of them taxes, I can go drop 500,000, $1 million on this ministry and change it forever. That's many black lives.
So you want to be Jesus. That's what you want to be. You want to be the Messiah, the Savior, because you're a narcissist and you have a complex about you that you want to embody Black excellence in a way that we herald you and lift you up.
Okay.
You don't care nothing about the collective. Because again, Blackness tells us that we are stronger together. So again, may the Lord dry your wells up, because if it is so important for it to just be you and you be the one to do, and if there's nothing wrong with that, why y'all ain't telling? That's the thing. Like, you ever, and we all know when we sneaky and when we doing something we ain't supposed to do, we don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
We praying while we driving from their house that the Lord don't get us in no accident, so don't nobody know what we were.
I did that before.
Like, literally.
I did that before.
Please, that Hello Fear, Kirk Franklin, that used to be my driving music. Because I was like, well, if I'm at least listening to gospel, the Lord ain't gonna let the car come off the highway, and then everybody got to find out I was at his house and I said I blocked them. So when you are doing something that you're not supposed to do, you being sneaky. You don't want nobody to know. And then you try to justify it and say, well, it's my business. It's private. No, you knew you had no business doing it when you did it. That's what this is. And if you are afraid to lose because you tell, the question is, should you evaluate why you vote in this way in the first place? And then if it's the other way around, do you trust God or do you not?
Yeah.
Because if you are standing for what's right and they fall to the wayside, don't God supply all the needs?
He does. Don't
God restore what the cankerworm that ate? I mean, that's what y'all told me in all my Sunday school and BTU classes. So if that's the case, then what I lose by standing up for what I know is right or what I believe is right, I don't really lose, because it comes back multiplied to me.
Got it. Wow. So now, let's suppose some of us in the chat, and this is real, because I've heard from people that they have left churches, or they still went back the next Sunday, but they didn't give nothing because they didn't want to support the hand of the oppressor. How do we, if we want to still be friendly, kind, loving, because we really love these people and honor and respect them, is there a way to do that and continue to do that, but at the same time respect, honor, and love and value our own autonomy and our convictions?
I think one of the things that has to happen is a conversation. A lot of division festers when there is no conversation, particularly when these are relationships that really matter to you. So if you are somebody who's like, yeah, I can't let them go. Like I believe in reconciliation. I believe in the restoration of relationships. I also believe that it takes courage to say, you voted for this person and it hurts me to know that that's what you would do.
Right. It is a deep, hurtful disappointment. It's like the disappointment hurts.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The disappointment hurts because I thought, because of what you said on this day, what I seen you do over here, and I thought you was clear about Black.
Yeah.
I thought you were very clear about white privilege. I thought you were very clear about oppression. I thought that you were clear about our history. And why you do not know it. When I was sort of having the conversation with one of the people that voted for Trump earlier in the week, they had sent me a text while I was in Africa and said, I'm at Elmina Castle, the dungeon, where the church is up top and the slaves at the bottom. And they said to me, the church may have had a hand in slavery, but we did make slaves of each other. Now, by this time, by this text, I was already clear, but that was a confirmation, and it was disappointing. I'm like, wait a minute, that is, if I copy and paste that and put that in ChatGPT, it would tell me that this is a white, mine will, maybe y'all's one, 'cause I got mine prompted and set up. It will tell me that this is a white talking point, because they say that we made slaves out of each other, that was not the way of the economy back then. But what happened in the West was chattel slavery, totally different. But
and that also lets me know you just read 2 pages of a book. Again, we're going back to the fact people don't read, and I can't respect you if you don't read. That is just my ick. Like I grew, like I was telling my cousin, I said we grew up at a time where if we asked a question, they would say, go read it and find out. I told my cousin, I said, what I want for Christmas is to find an old set of encyclopedias. Yes. And she was like, why you want to? I said, I don't mean no harm, but the way that they are rewriting and revising history, we gonna need that old encyclopedia to prove that some of the stuff that happened actually did.
I have someone in Africa gathering old books, because they destroyed a lot of books in Africa. That's not even a talking thing here. But part of colonization was destroying their writings. But they, we innovative. So we know how to pass that thing along. A lot of us orally. And I had them have them presently finding the oldest books on Africa, and I'm finding people they don't show up in Google.
Because I mean, they took that from us, right? They actively worked to deny us the access to know history. And so when you engage with someone who is supporting this administration and you want to remain in that relationship, that is something that you have to stress to them. Like, this is not, I think what unfortunately happens, right, is, and I'm trying to find grace in this. I think that people have become so overwhelmed and disillusioned by what will happen and what could happen is that they minimize the impact and say it's not going to be that bad. It's not that bad. Like, oh, we've survived worse. The way that y'all are talking about this is not as bad as it's going to be. When the truth is, right, that what we are facing is serious. So when you go to the person that you care about and you love, that you want to be in relationship, remain in relationship with, you convey that seriousness. I had to say to a relative, even if you didn't recognize how this impacted me as a woman, you love your cousins. This vote directly impacts them. And if you are somebody who voted for this administration, you've got to be willing to hear that.
Yes.
And part of the problem is that we don't want to hear when we've hurt somebody or when we've disappointed them.
When I came up in the conversation, it was said basically that they need to grow up.
See?
And learn how to be a stronger Black person to vote for your money.
Yeah, that's somebody I don't ever want to. Yeah, I don't even know her. Get your money from them or whatever, but they don't need to be nobody that you kick it with. Like, because
so you can do business with them, but not
because part of it for me is like, that's not the kind of Black person I want to be. So much so that I even push back a lot on the ways that, like, and I said this the other day, and sisters skewered me for it. That picture of America on fire, the building's on fire, and the Black women like sitting and like drinking tea and it's supposed to be like this, we tired, get someone else to do it. I was like, I'm bothered by that.
Right. Yeah.
And one of my friends was like, well, the only reason why you're bothered by that is because we've been conditioned to rescue, run in, and save people. And I was like, no, I'm bothered by it because this nonchalant, I don't care attitude is what they have. And I don't ever want to be white. I don't ever want, like, what did Audre Lorde tell us? The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house, right? Yeah. So this gets someone else to do it. This idea that I could care less. I'm tired, I'm upset, I'm hurt. But I can never take a position that reflects the same position that put us in the situation that we're in.
What someone says, well, that whole line of demarcation that you have, you're acting like the oppressor. You put in a difference between this and that just because of something as simple as a vote. What do you say to that?
That they stupid? They are. And I've had people to say that to me, that like, well, why is that the case? And again, I go back to what matters to me is the world in which I want to create, right? We do not have to agree on everything. But our commonality, where we meet, has to be on the humanity and dignity of all people.
Humanity and dignity of all people.
And so when we do not get there, when we are not there, we are not aligned. And it's funny to me that we can use all of these scriptures to keep us out of these quote unquote bad relationships and talk about not being unequally yoked and all this other stuff and how to all of this. But we don't want to use it when it comes to people's ideologies that directly impact the lives and lived experiences of other people. So for me, I'm never, like at the gym, I'm never gonna be rude to you. I've seen them since, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up? Am I getting ready to be kicking and talking? No, I'm not gonna do that. So much so that when I did speak and had a conversation, the person went back and said, Candace spoke to me today. Like, because it was very clear, I'm not talking to you. And I'm not being rude about it. But I grew up, your yes is your yes. Yeah. Your no is your no. And they told me as I am Missionary Baptist Church that God don't want no coward soldiers. So for me, as I feel like the work that you've got to do is to ask yourself why you would take a position, a political position that would harm the people that you are in community with, rather than asking the people that you were in community with why they would choose to back away. That's crazy to me.
Right.
And I think that we don't do enough of that because we see, particularly church folks, we've been taught that like this, and I mean, and it's the ways that people have articulated scripture, that like this unearned suffering is redemptive, right? So like if I am in community with somebody who disagrees with me, who doesn't share my thoughts and my opinions, that now I am really showing who Jesus is. Like I'm not doing that for the sake of being like, and here's the thing. If that is what God wants me to do, it's a whole bunch of other stuff I ain't done that God told me to do. And when I get the glory, I will just apologize for that.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, last thing. I ain't gonna bother you no more. First, I want you guys to get her book, Red Lip Theology. Now, how can they get it?
You go to Amazon, you go wherever your books are sold, and order it. Red Lip Theology for church girls who consider tithing to the beauty supply store when Sunday morning isn't enough.
Wow. Now that is amazing. I love the title. That would be intriguing. I might just read a little piece of that just so I can be up on what the ladies are thinking.
They were supposed to send you a copy. Okay, Penguin Random House. I found that out.
I don't think I have a copy unless it came in the mail and went straight to my library without me knowing it.
Okay, well let me know.
Okay.
They're supposed to send you.
Okay. All right. So hold on. I do remember somebody did reach out.
Okay, well I was about to say because they was trying to get an email. Baby, they was getting an email in the car. They were getting an email in the car.
Those of us who have people that they love and they look up to or look over at, because y'all know I have a lot of prophet friends. And we still want to be in relationship with them. What does that say about us? Although we fully do not agree, and where everybody's clear that we not know this is a problem. But we still want to be in relationship with them because we love them. What do you say about that? Or do you say that there's something in us that is trying to coddle, master? Is it coming out of our bend to handle other people's fragility and our own experience and our own expense? What do you say about that?
There are a lot of things that people will say about when we are in relationship with people who harm us or who do something that hurts us. I typically try to take a more gracious approach that says, I am least critical using that as more about questioning or analyzing actions of those who are harmed and how they choose to mitigate harm in relationships than I am of those who are doing the harming. Right? So for those who decide that they want to remain in relationship, I understand that there are a lot of reasons for why that's the case, right? And I don't judge those. What I do hope, though, is that whenever we are in relationship with whoever we're in relationship with, we are always holding our humanity as paramount. Like we can't give an inch of that to anybody, because when we start giving pieces of ourselves away, we start giving pieces of ourselves away for the sake of the purpose of being in relationship with people who didn't do that for us. And so we've got to sit with, how do I hold this relationship and myself? I think it's possible. I do. I think it takes a lot of communication. I think it takes some outside work, whether it's therapy. Matter of fact, I actually do know a couple who they found out that each of them voted for the different person,
God.
and they are actually actively in counseling.
I bet the woman voted for Kamala and the man for
did.
Trump. That's what happened.
And so it blew up their marriage.
Of course.
But their marriage and their relationship was important enough for them to do that kind of work.
Right.
And so part of it is that we will have to do the kind of the work that says, all right, how do we hold this intention? How do we hold space for each other? But how do I always hold myself in a way that affirms
I think that's primary.
that I bear the image of God and what I feel is not wrong.
Yeah.
Like that, like if you can agree with me there and say we got to figure out the other stuff, there's space for us to figure it out.
Yeah.
But you got to agree with me first there.
Yeah. Agreed. Wow. All right. I'm going to take a few questions. I'm not going to scroll up. So if you got a few questions that you want to ask, in fact, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take 5 questions. But before we do that, I want you to pay attention to...
You said, who is this woman, Harpo?
I want you to watch this and we'll be right back. That we're going to answer 5 of your questions. We'll be back. A lie has been told to you, and you have believed it.
It still has such an intensity, and the energy and the vibration in that place, you can feel it once you arrive.
At that moment, they allowed me to release my emotion.
Columbus never set a foot on any American soil before he died.
The lie is being exposed.
This is for real. They took our strong and able people, but they could never take all Africans away. And today, we have returned in peace.
That was an amazing journey.
Baby, in the end, they got production. You hear me? The budget is budgeting.
But the documentary is on the Larry Lab platform. It's called Retracing the Steps of Our Ancestors. Very powerful. When I went there, my entire life changed. Every business that I have got restructured. Wow. The way we have it handle our money. We really changed some things at the grassroots level. One of the things that we changed, of course, my tithe go to the MBN network. My Taruma goes to Bishop Jordan. But my ministry have always tied to another ministry. And a great ministry, doing well. And when I was in Africa, I went there with some investors. We invested heavily in Dubai, but we were investing in Ghana. I mean, there's money to be made in Africa. But I heard a whisper from an ancestor first when I was by the water, and then the Holy Ghost later on in my room. You're a church girl. Holy Ghost in my room mandated me to not seek to invest in Ghana, but to sow a seed. So what we're doing, 10% that we normally would give to another affluent doing well ministry, we're taking that money and putting it in a missions account. And now what we have began is Project Air. And Project Air is basically AIR, Africa is Rising. And we're taking monies and starting businesses and hiring Ghanaians and paying them what they are worth.
Good.
Because China and Russia is there and India buying up everything, hiring Ghanaians and paying them as little as $1.40 an hour.
Jesus.
So we're interrupting that oppressive colonizing pattern and we are doing what we supposed to do. Good. Charity begins at home, and our home is Africa.
And I'm in your house right now. Hey! My God.
All right, I'm gonna answer. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. We're gonna answer these 5 questions, and then we are gone. All right, Miss what?
Say her name right.
LaSonia. I'm gonna make sure. I think that's right. LaSonia Watson. How, as a queer Black woman, do I hold spaces for ignorant, uninclusive Black men in particular, my brothers, whom I love?
So I'm gonna be very honest with you. I'm not a queer sister, so I really try very hard not to say what they need to do, and will point you in the direction of those who are doing that. Because I'm be very honest with you, I don't think you need the whole space. I think that when people are on the underside of power, and in that dynamic you deserve to be in a space where you are loved, fully respected, cared for, and protected and safe. And when they are uninclusive and ignorant, you may love them, but you're not safe. And unfortunately, as Black women, queer or straight, or cis or trans, we know what it's like to love Black men and not be safe with them. And your safety is more important than their feelings, and your safety is more important than their access to you. And so I would actually tell you that trying to figure out how to remain in community with them should be the goal at all.
Yeah, I don't think that's your job. And I would go a step further, and I say this to other people who are in churches that don't have representation at the highest seat of power. You're not safe. Whether that's a woman, a Black woman, a Black person, a same gender loving person, if you do not have representation of who you are in the highest seat of the decision making in that ministry, I say you're not safe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And every same gender person that is still in churches. Now you might can't go with me in this one now.
Okay,
we might
go
disagree.
ahead. I'm hear you.
You're still in churches that are preaching that your homosexuality is sin and horrible and abominable in God's sight. You're in the wrong church. And
I'm with you right there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, then everybody can't take that there. Because they say, well, the Bible said, I know what the Bible said. I know who put it there. You just don't know who put it there. But I know what happened in 1940s. I know what happened in the 1600s. It started in 1600, but it culminated in 1947. That kind of rhetoric, you are not safe in that place. You're just not, and you should find you another church.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, when I make a clip out of that, they're gonna wear me out in the comment section.
And I'm right there with you. I mean, if you can, not only are you not safe, they don't deserve your money. They don't deserve your time. They don't deserve your treasure. They don't deserve your talent. Like, it is 2024. Read a book. Like, that's my shirt, and that's my tagline for the night. Read a book. Like, there is no reason why we are still holding to these kinds of theological positions that we know are faulty.
False.
Like they know that. Like, but it. I'm gonna be quiet.
I'm gonna say this since it's in the with what's going on. If God hate gay or same gender loving or same gender act so bad, why is our most beloved preacher on the planet, God ain't killed him when I know, that he's same gender loving. I'm talking about Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Okay,
so
now we gotta go.
I ain't never. She don't know that. I know that.
I ain't touching that.
She don't. That ain't on her. But you got to think. Our songs by James Cleveland, Andre Crouch, Donnie McClurkin. Y'all know these folk are anointed, and God's hand is on. You know Nathan Simmons.
Jesus, he in glory.
I'm just saying.
What's the second question?
But
these people is resting in the bosom.
But what I'm
supposed to do that?
I know, but what I'm doing, I'm trying to prove a point. But this, I mean, I'm not. If it wasn't already online, I would be saying it. But we're clear here. Orlando Draper. I mean, these are people I know who were same gender loving, and now it's online. But I know it to be true. Just stop. You know it's not true. King James himself was gobbling beans. And you read the Bible. Can we just stop? Let's just stop. We know that's not true. I'm just saying. I mean, hell, we know that's not true. So let's just let that go. All right. So let's go. There was a great question. Lasagna, it's all your fault. Everything I said.
Jesus.
Everything.
She just wanted to know what it looked like the whole space. You done told these people's business. They was resting, now they restless. Jesus.
Oh my
Lord.
God, that was
Last
great.
question.
That's great. Next question. All right, just 4 more to go. What was the name of the book you read during election time? Thank you.
It is called The Politics of God and the Politics of Man. That's the whole title. The Politics of God and the Politics of Man. Jacques Ellul, Ellul. It is I think everybody should read it. It is a fabulous political theological commentary on the Second Kings. And what he's really arguing in there is that when the children of Israel were like, give us a king, and God says, okay.
That's right.
What God is showing us through politics is the ways in which God gives us agency and how we use it to either fulfill or deny what we understand God's will and God's desires for humanity to be. So I have read it every presidential election since 2012.
I was saying that this is the Larry Live way I said what you just said, that writer said. I said God wasn't in this election. I said the only aspect of God that is in any election is when you vote, because you tell us your God consciousness, your God awareness, and your awareness, love, and kind care and concern for humanity. That's the only aspect of election that is God and spiritual.
I agree.
All right, next question. Next question. Would you move to Africa due to wants to come to America? I guess that might be to me. No, I would spend time in America. The nature of my job, certain parts of Africa, I won't be able to do it easily until the infrastructure is built out. Ghana, in part, is built out very well. I would love to live in Ghana, but I just know that it is not feasible. And I also understand something. It makes better sense for me to live in Dubai because Dubai's infrastructure, and it is a gateway to the whole world. America is a gateway to the entire world, and Ghana isn't there yet. So maybe ask me in 10 years.
But I to her point, I have a lot of friends and colleagues who are seriously considering dual citizenship. Seriously are leaving. I know a couple of who have already left. And I think that if I understand the inclination, I also recognize the privilege that's in that. And the ability to do that. And what does it look like for those of us who I flirted with it. I can't leave my cousins. But what is it going to look like for us to find? Because what I hear in that question, the undernote to that is where these like breathing pockets that we're going to need in this next administration and for the time to come, where are we going to find them?
I think what we should do now is travel.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's a privilege in that, but there are certain places you can go to for cheap and live a long time.
Yeah.
You can go take your passport and stay 90 days in most other countries. And there are some countries you can stay 90 days and you will not use but a fraction of your dollars. So there's that. Costa Rica, Panama, Vietnam. There are a lot of places. I'm going off the top of my head, but there's some places that Colombia. Oh my God. And Colombia's not that far. They're like a less than an hour flight from Miami. You near the state still. But you can live in some beautiful places for a fraction. Thailand. Yes, you can live there too as well. All right. 2 more questions. Deborah Carter. Candace, where do you think DEI is headed in this country?
To hell. I think that we are in a moment where companies are being incentivized to say that we are post-racial, we are post-diversity, we are post the note of inclusion. I think what is going to have to happen is, while we may not be able to fully divest from all of the companies that are making these kinds of decisions, we're going to have to be very intentional with where we spend our money so that they know that we are making a declaration based on what these institutions and these companies and these businesses are saying. We are literally seeing the ways that people have become frustrated by our advancement. And so in whatever way these companies and these institutions can slow that, they're going to do it. And so the question for us becomes, how do we move both with our bodies and with our dollars and with our intentions? How do we move in a way that says that we don't support that? And I think that that's going to be really crucial.
There need to be some organization around that. Because there's Walmart, but let me explain this so you know, the actual Walmart, the actual McDonald's, the actual Wendy's, is one entity, but then people franchise. So some of these franchisors, they gave millions to Donald Trump and his administration. So it's not all of them, but I think we should organize and we should patronize those who did not have franchisors, who would take millions of their dollars to support the Trump campaign. Walmart was one. But Target, I like how they done the same amount to both sides. That's almost like supporting nobody. And then Costco versus Sam's and Walmart. Costco did not do that. I think this only supported Harris. There are a few other ones. Wendy's done it, and McDonald's did it. Publix did it to Trump, right?
Wait, who did McDonald's support?
Trump.
See, and y'all been going and getting them darn McRibs.
KFC did too.
Y'all been getting them McRibs and them doggone this is y'all. So when y'all go and get that nasty McRib, I want y'all to know where y'all put your money. In Trump's hands.
That's right. Same thing with Wendy's, KFC,
Chick-fil-A,
and Pizza Hut. Papa John's.
Not Papa John's. Wait a minute. That's my right in food. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh,
So, but remember, you can find out which Papa John's done it. But in my opinion, there's some other things that you can do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there are some other
things. Oh my God.
You can find out which Papa John it was and not patronize that one.
Okay, yeah.
All right, last question. Or did I just got rid of one?
You got rid of 2. Because we only did 3. You got rid of 2.
I clicked off of them. Sorry, y'all. This is our last one. What are your thoughts on Reverend Caleb's post regarding abortion and racism? I don't know who Reverend Caleb is.
I don't even know who Reverend Caleb is.
You should have put that in there so we see what it is. We can't even answer that question. Let's see if I can pull another one that is down here because we can't. I don't know what it is. I've never given Walmart my monies for that very reason. I don't do Walmart.
Oh, that's great because
Walmart don't treat them. They don't treat their black employees proper. That's been a thing in the news for a while. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
All right. Yeah, Walmart said they're not going to be a part of the DEI.
Yeah, I saw that and I was very disappointed. Yeah, very disappointed. Very disappointed. And I hope they walk that back.
Yeah.
Particularly because at the senior leadership level, they have some amazing Black senior executives. And so I hope that I haven't followed it to see where they are with that, but I really do hope they walk that back. I can't remember. It was a good question out there, but I can't remember what it was.
God, you read ahead. I missed it.
And you clicked off, and I was like, I can't remember what it was now.
Is this the guest who wrote the book Red Lip Theology? It is.
Yes, Miss Charlene, that's me. Hey.
What Timber talking about? Timber, you've been here for years. What's somebody bothering you?
No, she got mistakenly hidden.
Oh, somebody mistakenly hidden her.
She said, "What you won't do?"
All right, y'all be careful.
I done been here since 2017. You won't be hiding me. I know that's right, Miss Charlene.
Are you going to re-release a Red Lip called "I'm Ready to Purchase"?
So that yes and no. I know this person, so that's why I'm laughing. Okay. I actually want to. I think that we don't do enough around Black women and cosmetics. I think that there's so much around Black women and faith and cosmetics. Shout out to Lexi because I mean she got a line that's amazing. Yeah. And she's. Now, I should have been now that I think about it, when I think about, she wasn't somebody that I was trying to figure out following, but Lexi's show, now that I'm talking to you now, like that was one of the times that I was really like, oh, I can do this. And I will be very honest, I miss her voice in this particular space.
Yes.
Because I feel like even then, but more so now, she has a way about her that is so deeply connected to Black women across so many faith traditions and genres. Like I miss her in the way that like the Lexi show really was so formative.
She was the Larry Live before Larry Live.
She really was. I remember that Tone conversation. I didn't really like how it went, but like I appreciated it. And I remembered like, ooh, I want to do that. Like I did it. I was like, I want to do that. And so I miss her. She was really a forerunner, and I don't think she gets enough credit for that. I don't think that Lexi gets nearly as much credit as that she deserves.
Fully agree. Fully agree. All right, you guys, this has been great. Listen, if you want to be a part of what we have going on, this the AIR Project, creating jobs and shaping futures, anytime you donate here on this platform to the MBN network, you are helping us do what it is that we do in Africa and actually in this country. Right in front of you is all the different ways that you can support. If you enjoyed tonight's show, you can show your love by opening your Cash App, put $ MBN Network. Any donation, just make sure in the comment, in the memo, put your phone number and put LRL so we know that you watched this show. And you can also do it Venmo at symbol MBN Network. You can text the word give to 404-800-4530. Our Zelle is info at the MBN Network. You can go to the mbnnetwork.org and click donate. That's PayPal. You can write 2 or 3 sentences there along with your phone number and whatever you want to say. You can also download the MBN Network app, the Larry Live app, or the Financial Wellness Plan app. All of those are our apps, and you can donate in all of them. Or go to pushpay.com/G/the MBN Network, and the mailing address is on the screen for those of you that want to do that. We have terribly enjoyed you tonight.
I have enjoyed myself. I'm excited. I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie.
Really?
I was nervous.
Some of my people must have called you. Oh my God, you going to Larry?
Do you know how many people were like, "What are you doing going to the Larry?" It was a lot of people that were like, "Girl, what?"
Yeah.
And so I think what's so funny about both of us is there's a perception about us.
Yeah, that's not true about us.
That's not true. Now sometimes you can get in the mess.
I do.
And I some of your mess I be getting in. I enjoy it. But I do think that there's a perception when you do ministry differently, or when you are trying to have different kinds of conversations, that you're automatically put into this kind of box. So I was actually not as much nervous. Like, people are like, "Oh my God, you're going on there." I was nervous because a lot of times I'm read very differently. And so for you to kind of see me and be like, "Let's have this conversation." I don't get that a lot. So that part was fun. That part was like, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I went and I read up today. I went back to school today. I was in my library reading notes, my citations. I was like, "You're not finna get me up here and make me." But this was really.
But I enjoy people. And I'm gonna say this: that's why I like Trump, because Trump he say whatever he wanna say.
He's just dumb. Like, I don't even want you to say that you like him.
Let me find another word.
I don't think that
I find him entertaining. I find him entertaining.
I think that you find him entertaining because he is ridiculous. I don't think that you respect him.
Oh no, absolutely.
And so that's
not.
the thing, is
no.
I think that there's a part of where we all are, particularly in this moment where we're talking about, we're in this like deconstructionist moment, right?
But he's helping that some, isn't he?
No, because the idea that like he is draining the swamp, or the idea that he is doing politics differently, is really this reinforcement of white supremacy and this reinforcement of Christian nationalism. Like, for me, I think about what this deconstructionist movement around us asking real questions about who is God to us, and what does that mean for how we need to be to each other, right? That like we are engaging in conversations. Are we reading the comments in here? Like that there are people that I know grew up with a certain lens that 10 years ago would have never thought that they could have the certain conversations that they're having, right? So how do we steward the direction that they're going? How do we figure out ways to say like, yeah, these questions are good. Yeah, like you go this way and you'll find and figure it out, when so many other spaces are telling them that even asking the question is wrong.
That's right. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, some people did not know that our world had people in it who were, or a thing such as white nationalism. We weren't even saying that word.
We weren't.
You know, so
we weren't.
In that respect, is there a way to look at Trump and Trumpism as some kind of gross, unneeded but necessary gift?
No.
Okay, now y'all see something we don't agree on. I agree with her, but I also think I can look at it in a way to where I can find some kind of we're gonna still be able to get where we're gonna get. I can't.
Because here's the slippery slope with that.
Okay.
You then slide into this notion that abuse, pain, violence of any kind then becomes productive. And so for me, that's not something that I ascribe to in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. So when we get there with Trump, if we get there with him, we got to get there with regarding that in so many different other places. Then we got to get there with, if we got there with him, then what comes next? Do we get there with that? And so that's why I hold the line to say, like, no. And I think that we have had enough evil. We've had enough pain. We've had enough hatred and division in the world that we could have said, hey, let's try something else. Yeah. Like the fact that it bothered people that her campaign was joyous.
Yeah, it did.
Says a lot about us.
Yeah, and I'm like, why they keep laughing? I'm like, let the girl laugh.
Like, I actually was looking forward to forgetting that she was going to be president. Like the fact that there was a time where you could forget that the president was the president because they were leading. But I do think that if we have had so much that we've seen what evil can do in the history of this world. We've seen what evil can do in the history of this country. It's okay for us to say, like, let's
had enough of it.
Let's choose something else.
Okay, got it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you have a great conversation. See how she said one thing, I said another thing, but then you see how that go? Yep. You got something to say, Margot? No. Did you?
He sure don't got nothing to say because he sat here for 2 hours and they bring me a cookie. He said he was sitting here thinking about what he had at home. I guess he's still thinking. He ain't moved. That I can tell you. He ain't moved.
I wasn't aware until later that Mary had a show.
Oh, okay. You didn't know?
Well, that's okay.
I got you next time. I work.
You scared of that mic? The mic is right there. You get like you're scared.
Anything, so I moved it up.
But when you talk, I have to put the camera over there because it's just
side.
So they know that somebody else talking sides of us. Okay, all right. This was great. Tamara said you look sleepy, Marco.
I am.
Someone said this has been an amazing show.
Thank you.
It was. Yeah, somebody said for those that are ordering the book, it's a great. Oh, you know Vonda?
No, I just.
Oh yeah, we love Vonda. Let's see, it's a great, enjoyable read. I read it and enjoyed the app.
Thank you, Miss Charlene.
Great. I love this conversation. Somebody asked for her Cash App. I saw that.
Whose Cash App?
Yours.
Oh.
Hold on. Let me let's put it in there. Hold on. Tell it to us slow. $sign what?
$CM as in Marie Benbow. So it's CM Benbow.
CM.
Yeah.
Benbow.
Thank you. My birthday is Wednesday. That's a really sweet treat.
This is good. So let's say happy birthday to. I'm gonna sing it. Hold on.
Yeah, because you can sing.
I'll sing a little bit.
Sing all that Black Boy Magic. You can sing that to me.
All right, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. God bless you. Happy birthday to you.
Show off.
That's Ghana and North Carolina. That's Ghana and North Carolina.
Them clean runs.
Oh
my goodness. Thank you.
Look, so everybody give her a birthday gift.
Oh, thank y'all.
$CM Benbow. We're gonna sing you one. Yeah, we got you. All right. So my same birthday as Cameron. Oh, that's right. Oh, same birthday is when? The 11th? That's two people I love, Cameron and Pastor Philip Feeders on the 11th. Seems like there's somebody else. Is that the Nene birthday? I think it is. She's just sad. Her birthday is this week.
Please tell her.
It's her. Yeah, her and her boyfriend, husband sometimes ain't. Birthday the same day.
I just Nene, I love you. I don't know who he is.
All right. See you guys later. Take care of yourself and make sure you go and you watch the documentary Retracing the Steps of the Ancestors. God bless you. A lie has been told to you, and you have believed it.
It still has such an intensity, and the energy and the vibration in that place, you can feel it once you arrive.
At that moment, they allowed me to release my emotion.
Columbus never set a foot on any American soil before he died.
The lie is being exposed.
This is for real.
They took our strong and able people, but they could never take all Africans away. And today, we have returned in peace.